Hi, good morning, Sri.
Hi Ramesh, good morning.
Hello, viewers. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Outbound with High Performer. Here is Sri and I. My name is Ramesh. And Sri, we talk about a lot of topics with relating to GTM, product, customer success. And, what sparked our conversation is our, obviously what we scroll through Twitter and LinkedIn and read about that. Very interesting topic today. It's on the mind of every founder who's starting up, every startup who's probably even reached a certain milestone in terms of revenue. What's next? The dichotomy of staying up market if you're an enterprise startup, or do we move down market, or the other way around? But here is the thing. I think the best AI products have the ability to do both. Right, so that's what we're going to talk about. Go up market or stay down market, and how the best AI product companies do both. So here is yet another episode at Outbound with High Performer talking about that. So what do you think, Sri? What are your first remarks with this topic?
I think every founder, I think eventually faces that, Ramesh, and it's not like unique to, I think, just even before you dwell deeper, I think, we've been through this, we've spoken about it, whether it's a very large companies like 500 million plus, or other day you met a 100 million plus, startup founder. Everybody have this dilemma. Either they start in the SMB, they want to go up market. If there is a founder who's successful, who started in the mid market and enterprise, they want to go conquer the SMB. Somewhere, at least the SaaS companies, Ramesh, which were founded 10 years back, they have this problem. Even today, all the companies you go back, they still, we cracked one, we didn't crack the other. I cracked SMB, but I didn't crack mid market. So what is happening? It's a very, very interesting problem, I would say.
Yeah.
And
I think, Sri, every founder, like you said, has this problem, and we've been reiterating that.
Correct.
And specifically with AI right now coming in, I think the sheer ability to execute probably becomes double. But what if the real magic is we could do both, right? As a company, right? Growing up market while still keeping the base of the bottom of the pyramid, the SMB DNA intact. Like, we both come from a very strong SMB DNA, right?
Correct.
And that's our first thinking. The way we think first is, hey, let's get it done for SMB, right? But enterprise is always known for less churn, better predictability, and that's very also true. Working. And the way you move up market and we are able to get customers, that is very true as well. So what's your, when we started High Performer, obviously we started with the DNA of SMB, but a year into it, I think it has changed, right?
So I'll tell you my honest learning so far, Ramesh. Where you start isn't always the choice. Right? That's a good one. That's a reality.
Yeah.
Right. So most founders like us think, you could choose between SMB and enterprise. In fact, Ramesh, if you had the same question about a year and a half back, I was of opinion that it's a choice we could make. Hey, you could choose between SMB and an enterprise, but honestly, right, you actually don't have that opportunity, the choice to make. It is your DNA. It's your the first few customers, probably your network that puts you, or it will pull you in one direction or other.
The MRR knife that they call
either way.
If you have a large customer and they have this knife saying, "Can you get this featured? I'm ready to pay the money."
Correct.
It just changes the direction.
It just changes direction, and it your network, your DNA, your first few users, they cannot pull you in one direction or other, right? So that is where I would say this is my thing, the mindset right now, right? But there is definitely, but I also know, and I think from what we have seen in the past, companies which have chosen one path versus other want to come back and solve for it later, and it's like 10, 100 times harder. I mean, there is no company which has solved, like you can take Salesforce. Salesforce been an enterprise company for decades now, but have not been able to successfully, crack SMB at all, right? You could take another example where there could be a SMB company been there, done like almost $1 billion, but never been able to crack enterprise at all. So as founders, somehow you have to find a balance, right? That's what I would say. But
without breaking the GTM.
Without breaking whatever GTM model you're trying to figure out.
Yeah. Right? So I think that is a very important question. And a lot of times as founders who built the company of a certain DNA, it's very tough to kind of talk about the trade-off that happens.
Absolutely.
Right? And specifically in marketing.
Correct.
Right? There's a big trade-off that you need to do, right?
Correct.
Like serving SMBs and the enterprise at the same time is really messy. There is a GTM motion. You think it's the same. If you have a very strong inbound engine, you probably think I can get more leads, pass it on to the mid-market, and that just works. Often there is not even a product problem, because if you have built an enterprise product, you can probably chop pieces of it and bring it to SMB, and that's
that's a very, very important problem,
Yeah.
right? Most of the time, other than the self-serve aspect of the product, it is not a product problem.
Yep.
It is primarily the messaging.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
That's exactly what I was getting to, right? In a marketing world,
Correct.
How will you talk about the differentiation that happens from a $349 product
Correct.
To an enterprise product which probably pays you, $20,000
Correct.
Or $50,000 a year? It's messaging. And that is a trade-off that most founders are probably willing to let go because they just want to rush into the
But that's
model.
a classic trade-off, Ramesh, right? SMB wants transparent pricing, right? But frictionless onboarding.
Oh yeah, talk about frictionless onboarding, right?
Enterprise buyers,
they are harsh.
Expect very custom demo, right? They wanted to see security reviews. They want to see, you need to go through a procurement workflow, right?
Yep.
It really doesn't matter what you put in your website. When it comes to enterprise, you need to go through a particular process, right? Same product, two different GTM motions, right? And interestingly, right, I think AI might have a different take on it. Today, AI-based products, right, whether you build an agent or you call it like AI wrapper, whatever you want to call it, it's all outbound based. Even SMB customers, I think we've been going through this, Ramesh, at High Performer. When you're building an agent, it still seems to be an enterprise flow. Even for an SMB.
True.
Right?
True.
So that's where the tricky part is, right? So there are point solutions. There are people who basically look at AI, they want to get started. But with AI agentic approach, as of today, it's not self-serve.
It is not self-serve.
So what do you think about it? So do you think these models are coming together?
I have an opinion, and I come with a lot of bias from my previous organization and also how we started, right? I feel the SMB DNA generally is a superpower.
Okay.
Because when we start building products, you can't build enterprise grade, specifically if you're VC funded. Because if you're VC funded, the time is ticking from day zero.
Okay.
Right, when you're on that mode, I think the fastest is to ship. You ship products, you ship features, you keep shipping. You have more adoption.
Okay.
You know what is working. What is you grow customers. You probably churn customers at an equal or even faster rate, which is amazing feedback back for the company.
Okay.
To build on features. And there will be a eureka moment where you know that, okay, this is a feature that we can scale.
Okay.
This is a feature that is required by both SMB and market. But like I said, the trade-off is on the messaging. The messaging is very different for enterprise versus is different. Like take example for example, High Performer. The messaging that we have for enterprises is to say how we can help GTM folks in the GTM automate their complete workflow. That includes, it could sound as simple, but it's very powerful when you say we can automate and have 90% of the CRM fields absolutely automated.
Okay.
Right? It can be filled. But that won't suffice for an SMB. If you're going to talk about filling the CRM for an SMB, that's not different. So for SMB, the messaging is quite different, where we say, hey, we are able to generate more leads.
Okay.
Because it's initially the same thing, one and the same if you see. But I think what matters, like I said to a previous messaging. So coming back to the point, starting with SMB is a super DNA, is what we've seen.
But very interesting. I think having a SMB DNA, I think I agree with you. It's a superpower for the product.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Maybe not for the GTM. Right? I'll give an example. Right? See, I'll give my 2 cents on this. Right? So here's the thing about SMB. Right? They are very unforgiving.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's why I said churn is probably equal or faster.
If your onboarding is not intuitive, you lose them instantly.
Yeah.
So no one is waiting for a customer success call.
No ways.
Or they are not even willing to basically read a doc and all of that right now, right? These days, in fact, the expectation about an SMB in the AI world is even more higher, right? On this side, they use a Claude or OpenAI. You can get things done on a transaction basis. You come to the product and you want to expect the same thing. That is where it stops, right? But the same flow for a mid-market on a GTM doesn't work. So
It
that's
won't work.
that's the interesting balance you have to figure out, right? You need to figure out customers maybe on the slightly on the higher side of the SMB is where you should start, and make it SMB. The product
She's
will be
creating a
self-serve.
new
Yeah,
segment.
because if you're dealing with, let's say, 1 to 10 employee companies and you're trying to build
that is
for
micro SMBs, perhaps.
right. So that is a problem, but that's why starting SMB is definitely a great thing for the product, right? Companies that succeed, you can take names like ZoomInfo, Figma, Canva, they've been very, very successful on SMB, and even today, Ramesh, they have not lost their SMB DNA.
Yeah.
They still operate, the product operates with an SMB DNA, right? The product remains, but their product remains SMB ready, also enterprise ready, ridiculously easy for
You
anybody.
spoke about Canva,
Correct.
and I want to bring an interesting point again on Canva. When you say Canva, there's also a big elephant in the room that always people compare it with on the enterprise side of things, which is Adobe. Right? You spoke about Canva, I talk about it, and that's the reason why I said there is a risk if you ignore the SMBs. And today, Adobe is putting all its weight into trying to say how it can enter the SMB world.
Correct.
Right? And that's a big risk. So if you focus too heavily on enterprise and ignore the SMBs, we are actually creating a huge opening for newcomers to come and pick that market much faster and go. And it will just, and like you rightly said, right, they will just eat us away super quickly in this new AI world as well.
But the reality is this, Ramesh, right? Without the reality, when you say, building for both is very, very hard. So, you should basically, enterprise customers wanted larger capacity, reporting, integration, all of that.
Oh yeah.
So you need to bring a balance, right? So they would want, but SMB wants instant onboarding, zero training, right?
Yes.
So that is where the whole conflict happens on the product side, and on the other side, GTM side, same problem, right? The way you basically set up and onboard an SMB customer is different. That's a balance you have to bring. So how do you find the balance is a very, very important, right? So that is where the GTM, I would say the biggest, I think from what I've seen, Ramesh, I'm sure if you want double, second on those, place where multi-product companies fail or single product companies fail to cater to these two markets is not product, it is typically the GTM. GTM becomes very rigid, right? And they don't evolve, right? So that is where the whole problem is.
Yeah, right? I would just it's like a feather in the cap and not with the chip on my shoulder when I say this. When we started High Performer, I think we had a very basic version of the product and we put that out in the market right away. Right? We didn't wait for the team for the product to just become this well-connected product overall. That got us feedback much faster working with it didn't matter if we worked with an SMB or with the enterprise. But we did get a lot of feedback and we prioritized, and you were able to prioritize along with the team on what needs to be done purely based on the need that is, right? So that is,
I'll give an example. I was mentioning about High Performer. Some early decisions for us to look at enterprise in terms of product capability wise. Build product capability for enterprise. Build self-serve for SMB. Right? For example, is that, hey, we picked up integration. Probably we are one of the best integration with the CRM out of the market today. Right? Completely two-way sync, all of that. The only reason is that we build for the capability of enterprise. Now, when you make it self-serve for SMB, I think you will see adoption driving it. Right? In essence, Ramesh, the whole thing is that it's hard to build for both, but you should build it in such a way that your GTM is flexible. In the process of choosing between one or you end up starting with one. As founders, we need to be sensitive about not making a GTM very rigid. What I mean by that is that instead of just putting ads for SMB, just throwing out everybody. Look at signals.
I think,
right? And then you evolve the GTM based on
that, right?
Right. That's what I would do, right?
Absolutely. I think signals is obviously the future of sales, as we have talked about it in High Performer, right? But this is where I think GTM is evolving, right? Serving both these customer segments, enterprise and SMBs, and knowing who's ready right now and how can we pass that lead on to the sales team is where the magic is.
Let's give an example, Ramesh. What do you mean by that? For example, how do you
right? If it's who's raising money.
Correct.
Now, if someone's raising a Series C or a Series D, they surely are going the enterprise way.
Okay.
If someone's raising a seed or a Series A, you know that it's SMB. But the signal is, have they raised any money?
So what you're saying is that,
right? It doesn't matter that if you're rigid about saying I will work only for SMBs or I will build only for SMBs, and you said this very well when you say build for enterprises and execute for SMBs, right? That
correct.
In that case, we are able to cater to both because you built for enteprises. So someone raising a Series C, D, E, you know that it's an enterprise company and you have the capability to go there. Whereas someone who's raising a Series C and C, make the messaging different.
That's an interesting thing, right?
Right. The next one is, let's say, company growth. If you know that a company has been raising money and also hiring, let's say, 10 account executives at a go, you know that they are not SMBs. They have a motion in progress and they need to scale their GTM, and hence high performer would be way more. That's an enterprise play. Whereas if you are looking at a signal of someone hiring for their GTM or they're hiring for their RevOps, so you know that they're starting up. The messaging is different, but the motion and messaging is different, but the product is the same that can span across both enterprise, right?
In a way, Ramesh, you also bring a very interesting point, right? What you're saying is look at the buyer intent signal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and then you will find more or less your sales plays will be very similar for both, right? That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
What it means is that let's assume that you're looking at, like example, you said you wanted to raise fund. People looking at people who are raising money, right?
Yep.
People who are hiring, let's say 10 AE or A's or long, or let's assume that you have, you want to find people who are engaging with your competitors. It really doesn't matter whether they're SMB or mid market. Your GTM motion will remain the same, provided you align your sales plays for the buyer signals.
Correct.
The buyer intent signal.
Correct.
Rather than just doing a blast of outbound for all enterprise companies just by choosing people with title and the firmographics, or spraying ads for SMB. So which means that with the AI coming into picture, with buyer intent coming into picture, it also gives you an opportunity for you to find people who are exhibiting the buyer intent.
Correct. Rather
than spraying and praying, you go laser sharp.
Absolutely.
Right? That's basically the model which is evolving, and that's what we are seeing. You can look at the same thing, right? With the companies like the OpenAI and all of them, it's the same product being served for both the characters, right? Similar product, right?
Yep.
But the moment you basically exhibit, I think Ramesh in the morning I was saying, right? They basically just did a seamless integration with your Google Drive. So that's an enterprise search use case.
Yep.
That's not relevant for SMB, right?
Very true.
The most part.
But at the same time, OpenAI is extensively used by SMBs as well.
Correct.
Right? It's just that feature set, that messaging is very different for an enterprise.
Correct. So, for example, they might basically go after companies which are using enterprise search, federated search, right? And then maybe able to position this for people who are willing to do.
Yeah.
That's the way the market is evolving.
Can I ask you a question? When it comes to a product play, we've been speaking a lot about GTM, and that's rightly so, as it's called Outbound by High Performer. But 5 years ago, Sri, do you think such a motion of going parallel, or even 10 years back, going parallel with both SMB and mid-market intentionally at the same time would have even been possible? Today we are in a different world. We're talking about AI, you're talking about OpenAI, you're talking about bringing these models together. But would this have ever been possible 10 years back?
It was not possible, Ramesh. From what I've seen, I have not seen companies which have done successfully, right? It's either or typically, right? And companies only struggle after they see success in one model. They struggle to bring it to other model because they have inherently built a GTM which is very inflexible. But what you're seeing today with AI, with a lot of this GTM agentic approaches available, because I'll tell you, a lot of the GTM motions were very hardwired because a lot of manual work was involved in the GTM workflows, I would say 3-4 years back, right? But today, a lot of it is automated, which means that I could spin an agent which could automate some of, the GTM workflow specific for for a particular inbound flow versus one for outbound.
Yeah.
So the world is changing. You need to use AI to basically wire your GTM workflows, which will make you more flexible and focus on the buyer signals.
Absolutely.
Right? And when you look at the buyer signals and map your sales play for the buyer signals, right? Then the model will be very similar.
Correct.
Right? And it is outcome based. Typically today, most of the AI companies are outcome driven. They're not based on a number of contacts you
import or
enrich or
even
consume,
pricing
or
for
it is not based on the number of seats.
Correct.
So it's outcome based. So with all this combination coming in with an AI, I'm assuming that all people who are looking at us, listening to us in some shape and form, or using some AI agent to automate their workflows in the GTM. It's possible now.
It is possible. It is possible.
But it was not possible 10 years back.
I'm just talking at one level higher. Right? We always talk about GTM, motions, SMB, enterprise. So
Correct.
With AI coming in, with products being built, I think that is getting eroded away, right? That whole layer of are you an enterprise company, are you an SMB company is actually getting eroded away. So in sense, salespeople, pre-sales folks, AEs, SDRs,
Correct.
They shouldn't care if you're an SDR for SMB or if you're an SDR for an enterprise, right? They should just be able to play both games. Absolutely. And that's how you can scale an organization itself, right?
I agree.
This is at a higher level, of course.
I agree.
But you cannot have someone coming in saying, I am a sales guy, I'm an SMB salesperson.
I'll also share one thing, Ramesh, based on our understanding. Right?
Of course, that also depends on how mature.
As of today, like this is a new world order for companies like ours, right, which is being founded in the last 12, 18 months, right, where our customers, whether you're SMB or mid market, are willing to pay higher, provided you sign up for their outcome improvement.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that, right? So you build the product with the capabilities for enterprise, but make it SMB friendly with respect to self-serve and all of that. It's a very it's a tricky thing, but you need to find a balance. But the GTM model built it with based on the buyer intent.
Yeah,
right. Be smart on the market in which you are in. It's very industry specific, the market specific, segment specific maybe, but the buyer intent is what you need to basically pin going forward. Well, that's what.
Absolutely, I think that brings us to this closing. And as founders, as fellow founders, I think if we are scaling AI today, right, as a product into the product, and if you are over rotating this upmarket piece and then saying I'm going to lose my SMB edge, or should I stay only SMB and not worry about it? It's not even a question that we should even keep thinking about, right? This is a phenomenon. This is all the founders, including us, who are starting now. When I say now, in the last 18 to 24 months, we have a huge leeway. We have a huge advantage. I personally feel.
Yes.
And what we will achieve in the next 10 years is humongous. We're just getting started. AI is just the piece. All the rules and the rule book of starting a SaaS company is being erased. We are the ones writing the rules right now. I know I'm talking probably at a meta level, but I think that is where the magic lies, be it in a product, be it in GTM, or any other department in a company.
Makes sense, Ramesh. In fact, try to design your GTM around, I would say, signals, AI workflows, buyer intent from day one. I think that will leave us. I think that's what I would consider we do, Ramesh, as well, right? But that will give us flexibility to handle customers of any type, right? And the product, I think we should align for the best of the market product, which is typically enterprise. Build it with ease of use, and then build your GTM, which is more modern, AI based.
Very true. In one of Sri's last post on LinkedIn, right, which was based on our previous pod, which is, hey, is the CRM even relevant today?
Yep.
And you see the number of responses that come, right?
Yes.
It's not an SMB or an enterprise or enterprise scale CRM which is in talk. Everyone is just talking about this AI tool.
Correct.